Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. So I am aware that the title of this video is very dramatic, but that's just the way I feel. You know, I'm very passionate about this subject and so I'm very excited to talk about these ships today. Before we do though, I did want to give a quick shout out to a few of you in my Discord server. You guys know who you are, because if it wasn't for the conversation that we had about this topic, then I probably wouldn't have made this video for you guys. So thank you guys, I love you. If any of you are also interested in joining my Discord server, I'll put the link in the description as well because it's a lot of fun. Before we get started today though, I did want to mention that I wanted to take a little bit of a different approach in making this top 10 list today, because I feel like whenever I've made videos like this, I've always just assumed that everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about, which I feel like is mainly because I have a hard time like wrapping my head around the fact that some people are watching these videos just like for me and they want to hear my opinions. I don't know, I just feel like that's still such a foreign concept to me, and so I've always been like, why would people be watching these videos if they're not familiar with Shake It Up or Girl Meets World? But if I've learned anything from my DCOM series, it's that I really shouldn't assume what anyone is familiar with, because there's really no way to tell what people have and haven't seen. And so I'm going to be trying to give a little bit more background information on these ships today. Not like crazy overwhelming, but just like a little bit so you kind of can understand more what I'm talking about if you haven't seen the show. Obviously there will still be spoilers because I'm not going to be able to talk about these ships if I can't explain how they were ruined, because that's this video. But yeah, let me know down below if that's something you'd like to see me continue to do for my other top 10 lists, or if you find it annoying and you're like, Caitlin, we already know all about the storyline, you don't need to give us a summary. So yeah, I don't know, let me know down below what you guys think about that. Also, the poll for the top 10 Disney animated movie ships is now live, so you can go down below and vote for your favorite ships. That's movies like the ones behind me, which is cool because I've never done a video about Disney movies when I'm Kayla's Disney. I can't believe I've never made a video about Disney movies. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. Go vote for your favorite canon or non-canon ship. I mean, I feel like we all know that Rapunzel and Flynn are gonna win, but it will still be interesting to see who else makes that list. But with all that being said, let's just jump right into today's video.
I know you're probably mad at me right now.
I'm not mad.
You're not?
No. No guy has ever gone to this much trouble for my birthday before.
Well, then you've been hanging out with the wrong guys. And you're a great girl, Maya, and you deserve the best.
Which is exactly what I have.
So at number 10 we have Maya and Zach, and they are just one of my favorite ships. I just love their whole story arc. Basically they meet in the 3rd season and Zach is like smitten by Maya, but she really just like won't give him the time of day because she's heard all these rumors about him being a player, which like aren't that far from the truth, and so she doesn't want to be just another one of those girls that dates him just for him to kind of mess around with. And so that leads us into a storyline where Zach has to prove his feelings for Maya, and so they start off as friends and then they start dating, and I just always found them to be so adorable. I feel like they're so much better than Cody and Bailey, but that could just be a personal preference. And yeah, they were my favorite ship from this Wheel of on Deck. I mean, I guess besides the ship. Ayo, that was bad, I'm sorry. That brings me to my two main points as to why Disney Channel ruined them, which is, first of all, they were given hardly any screen time. Like when I was going through scenes of them to choose the one for this video, there was hardly any to even go through, which I feel like was mainly because Maya wasn't introduced until the 3rd season, which just proves my point even further, because Maya really should have been introduced a lot earlier in the show so we could have gotten more relationship development from them, because this was really Zach's only real relationship throughout this whole series, and then it ended up like this, and it just makes me so upset. So yeah, first of all, they hardly got any screen time. Second of all, they are not endgame. So in the last episode of this series, Maya breaks up with Zach because she's going to Africa, he's going to college, and she doesn't want to deal with a long distance relationship, which is fine, you know, I get it. Some people don't want to do the long distance thing, but I feel like it just makes it feel even more like the show really didn't care about this relationship at all. And so yeah, I don't think I'll ever get over that one. I feel like they're kind of an underrated ship too, just because they were always overshadowed by Cody and Bailey, and they just deserved so much more than what Disney Channel gave them. But the reason why I have them farther back on the list is mainly because in my mind they are endgame still, even though they weren't in the show. Like I picture Zach going off to college, you know, dating around a bit, but then once Maya comes back from Africa, they're able to find each other again and fall in love all over again, and then they're together forever and happily in love. And so that's my canon, and that is the only canon that I will accept in terms of Maya and Zach, and so that's why they are number 10 on this list.
Planetarium's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I love looking at the stars, whether they're on the red carpet or on the ceiling.
That's Canis Major, and that's Orion. Orion's one of the easiest to find because the 3 stars in a row that make up Orion's belt.
Gotta love a constellation that knows how to accessorize. I'm glad you asked me out. I mean, I know I'm not the type of person you'd usually hang out with.
Well, that's true. Usually I hang out with avatars. This place isn't too sciencey for you, is it?
Are you kidding? If actual science class had lasers, fog, and loud music, I probably wouldn't sleep through it so often. Look, obviously we're different, but I think it's true what they say. Opposites do attract.
Exactly. Like, in an atom, the electrons emit a negative outward charge while the protons emit a positive inward charge.
I was gonna say like Tom Brady and Giselle, but I guess yours works too. Hey, wanna try something really fun? Cross your eyes and look at the lights. Makes you feel all dizzy.
Hey, that is fun.
So at number 9, we have Cece and James, and they're a ship I actually didn't know about until I rewatched the show a couple weeks ago because I had never seen season 3 in its entirety, and they're in season 3, and so I was surprised I had never heard of them because, like, as someone who makes videos about Disney Channel, oftentimes, even if I haven't watched a show or the season that they're featured in, I'll still be familiar with the ship or whatever it is because of my YouTube comments or just because of research I've done for previous videos, and so Cece and James really caught me off guard, and I was really pleasantly surprised by their relationship. They meet in this one episode that might be one of my favorite episodes in the entire series because it talks about some of the fundamental problems that a lot of our high school systems have, and I was just very surprised to see them even cover this topic. And so if you haven't seen this episode, I'll put the number somewhere on the screen so you can go check it out because I think it is a really good episode and people should watch it if they haven't seen it. But back to Cece and James, they meet in this episode after Cece is placed in this higher level course that James is in, and he's kind of being mean to her throughout the episode because he doesn't feel like she belongs in this class, which I know is bad. I'm not condoning that behavior whatsoever, but he does redeem himself at the end of the episode when he apologizes to Cece, which was a really nice moment because he apologizes and then she kind of like brushes it off, being like, no, it's okay, I am dumb, it's fine. But then what I really liked is that he took the extra step to be like, no, you're not, you're actually really smart, we got the same grade on this test, like obviously you're very smart. And I just thought that that was really nice because he could have easily just been like, I'm sorry, that was that, but he took that extra step to make sure that Cece knew that she was smart, and I just thought that that was a really nice moment. And so when he came back a couple episodes later, or the next episode, I do not remember how big of a gap it was, I was very pleasantly surprised to see him, and then I was even more pleasantly surprised when he ends up asking out Cece and she says yes, and I just thought that that was so refreshing to see because James was really painted as this like stereotypical geek character and Cece's like this popular girl, and so I don't know, I just feel like I'm so programmed into thinking that like for a teen series that kind of relationship would just never happen. And so I thought it was so nice to see them break down those stereotypes and treat it like it was just any other normal relationship. But here's where things take a turn, and here's where Disney Channel ruined everything. Obviously they do break up, and the reason for their breakup is that they're just too different, which made me so mad because they really weren't that different at all. Like, yeah, on the surface they were pretty different, they had different interests and stuff, but underneath that they were actually so similar. There's one episode where they both have this exact same plan to try to be like the other person so that the other person will like them more, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys are so similar. They had the same humor, and obviously they had the same intelligence level, and so I'm like, they should have worked. It made no sense. It was so superficial, and it just made me mad and kind of went against the whole point that they tried to prove in that episode where they were like, oh, they're not that different, they can actually be together, and then they were like, just kidding, they are different, we'll just have them break up. And so yeah, that made me mad. And then there's the whole Logan situation, which just makes me even more upset. So Logan is technically Cece's endgame, and he was supposed to be her stepbrother, but then her mom never married his dad, and they never got along. They were always like fighting and whatever. And then there's this one episode in the future where it's like revealed that, oh, she ends up with Logan, which was just so weird. Like, I'm usually on board for a haters to lovers story, but we never saw that transition to lovers. And when they were haters, there was never like any hints that they liked each other, and so seeing them together in the end just felt weird to me, and I really didn't like it. I feel like if James would have walked in that moment, I would have actually cared more because we'd actually seen their relationship develop, whereas Logan just kind of came out of nowhere and it was super weird. So yep, Disney Channel ruined Cece and James, and I'm mad about it.
I need to talk to you immediately.
Actually, I'm glad you're here. I need a favor.
I don't have time to help you with your science project.
Please. I have actual scientists for that. I need a tennis judge. Word on the street is you can help.
What? I'm not a tennis judge.
So you just made that up?
Yes, but listen.
Who makes up something like that?
Who needs a freelance tennis judge?
Actually, I'm hosting my annual charity tournament. I don't want to lose again.
Oh, I see. Well, as much as I'd love to help you cheat for a good cause, I can't. Why? Oh, yeah, because I'm not a tennis judge.
Uh-huh. So what'd you want?
Some answers.
To what?
To how it all ends. To how long it's gonna be before you ask the girl you're destined to be with.
I'm not sure I can answer that.
Aren't you in charge of your own destiny?
I guess.
Well, then it's time to say enough. I mean, when two people are this right for each other, there's only one thing to do.
How long have you felt this way?
Just since yesterday. It hasn't been long, but it hit me like a ton of bricks.
I mean, I guess I feel the same way.
Well, then do something about it.
Okay, I will.
Great.
Sonny, will you go out with me?
So next up we have Sunny and Chad, and I feel like a lot of you guys will agree with me in saying they're definitely one of the first ships that come to mind when you think about ships that Disney Channel ruined, because they're definitely one of the most iconic Disney Channel ships with just most tragic ending. So Sunny and Chad were the perfect haters to lovers story. They were on competing TV shows and both of the casts from each shows hated one another, and so it was such a moment when Sunny and Chad did get together, and they really were the heart of Sunny with a Chance overall, in my opinion. Like, I always felt like the love story between Sunny and Chad was really the main thing that made Sunny with a Chance so great. And Sunny and Chad are definitely one of my favorite ships from Disney Channel, and so I'm sure a lot of you are surprised to see them so far back on this list. And the main reason is because I don't think that Disney Channel really ruined this ship as much as they've ruined other ships on this list. Yeah, they weren't endgame, but at the same time, they were so clearly endgame. Even though they had them break up near the end of the second season, it was so obvious that they were going to get back together by the third season. And it does make me mad that oftentimes they can't figure out other interesting plot lines to do once a couple gets together. Like, they don't always have to break up and get back together, but that's just the way it is. And so it was so clear that that's what they were going to do with Sunny and Chad. And this is also something that they talked about in the Sunny with a Chance reunion, which if you haven't seen it, I would actually really recommend watching it. I felt like it wrapped up the show nicely and kind of gave it the closure that I kind of always felt like I needed. And so yeah, that's a main reason why it's farther back on the list. And also because of that reunion, I felt like we were able to get our closure with like Sunny and Chad being endgame, living off together somewhere close to LA for Chad's work, and Sunny close to the farmland. And so yeah, I love them together. And it's unfortunate, but I don't think that you can blame Disney Channel for them having to end the show after the second season.
Am I late? How long have you been standing there?
Not long. I was waiting behind the door, but that felt a bit weird, so I left it open, and since then, I've just been practicing my leaning mostly. I'm a little bit nervous.
Nervous is a new look for you.
You look really pretty.
Thank you.
The food's probably burned, and I tried to grate the fish, which I don't think you're supposed to do.
You're cooking?
Yeah, it was Ben's idea.
You asked Ben's advice about our first date?
It's not how it sounds. You had to be there. Actually, that would have been a terrible idea.
I'm nervous too.
Why is this so scary?
Because we're dating?
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
I just don't want to mess this up.
So let's not do that then.
The food is a complete disaster, and I don't want to insult the dessert, but it is pretty ugly. We could sit here for a first date.
Sounds perfect.
So next up we have Sean and Sky, and they're another one of my personal favorite Disney Channel ships, but I feel like they are a little bit controversial because their whole storyline is that they're in this love triangle, so Sky is at the center of it, and then there's Sean and Ben, and they're best friends, and so a lot of people either prefer Sky with Ben or Sky with Sean. I am one of those people that preferred her with Sean. I just always felt like it was Sean from the start. He was the one that she wanted more. Even when she was dating Ben, she was always thinking about Sean. So this is where we get to where Disney ruined it. So basically at the end of the first season, Sky chose Sean. We find this out at the beginning of the second season, and then they start dating. And it's adorable and cute, and it made my little heart happy. Until Sky kind of starts to backtrack. She's with Sean now, but she's like, oh, maybe I made the wrong choice. Maybe I like Ben. And it's like, what are you doing? You already picked Sean. You can't just backtrack on that decision, especially when it was so obvious to me that you liked Sean more. Why are you suddenly feeling like you made the wrong choice? And then it also made me mad because Ben had already moved on with Danielle. And so it's like, why are we still talking about the love triangle? I thought we were done with that. I thought that that was over and done with after season 1. We wouldn't have to hear about it anymore. But now suddenly they're like, oh wait, no, but what if she still likes Ben? And it's like, this is so dumb. I am so annoyed. And so Sky and Sean ended up breaking up near the end of the second season, and then the lodge presumably got canceled. We haven't heard about it in like 2 years, so I am assuming it's canceled. And so they're not in game, and Sky is just like this character who can't make a decision. At least Ben and Danielle are happy, but then it's also like, does Ben really like Danielle more than Sky? Like, if he had the choice, would he pick Danielle? Like, we don't know. I'm not even that mad about their breakup or the fact that they're not endgame. The part that I feel like they really got wrong is the fact that they didn't end the love triangle after the first season. It should have just been done for after that, and then I would have been happy even if they broke up. We had some good Sean and Sky moments, and yeah, I don't know. I still like Sean and Sky. It just makes me sad that I can't even really like picture them ever being endgame. And so I'll never forgive Disney for not only ruining Sean and Sky, but also for ruining the lodge, because we should have gotten another season and we didn't, which sucks.
Just stay strong. You can do this.
Hey, Julie.
Hi, darling.
Hey, look, there's something I've been meaning to tell you.
Have you been getting my messages? Because the girl who answers the phone doesn't seem very smart.
Look, I've been thinking about this a lot. Okay, now that we're so far apart, it's tough. So...
You're moving back home?
No, I'm not moving back home. Look, I'm calling to tell you that I think we should break up.
What? You're dumping me? I can't believe this.
Oh, come on, don't do that. Not the lip. Please, not the lip. Okay, maybe we can make this work.
Julie, hi. I'm Teddy. Put the lip away, sweetie. It's not gonna work on me.
Who are you?
I work with Bo. I take the messages, and I happen to think I'm very smart, but maybe that doesn't come across over the phone.
Are you trying to steal my boyfriend?
No. Not at all. We're just friends. In fact, I just went through what you're going through. A long-distance relationship that didn't work. Until we both decided that we had to make a tough choice. We had to be mature and let each other go.
Who are you again?
Look, I know it's hard now, but you're gonna be okay. You got a lot going for you. You're pretty, you seem nice, and you got that cute Southern accent.
You really think I'll be okay?
Absolutely. Hey, and speaking of Southern accents, I don't mean to brag, but I happen to think I do a pretty good one myself. Would you like to hear it?
No, thank you. But I appreciate you making this easier.
Okay. Well, y'all have a real good... Oh, and she's gone.
I can't believe it. I did it.
Well, we did it.
I feel so much better. I can't thank you enough, Teddy.
I'm glad I could help.
I should probably get out to the job.
Yeah, and I should get back over here.
So next up is Teddy and Bo from Good Luck Charlie, and to be able to really talk about their relationship, I kind of need to talk about another ship from the show first, which is Teddy and Spencer, which is a ship that I just feel like is collectively hated upon by the Disney Channel fandom, which I feel like it deserves to be because it's a terrible ship. I actually rewatched the show recently because I wanted to see their relationship from like an adult perspective and to see if I still agreed with my younger self's opinions, and the answer is yes, I do still agree with it. Although I have changed my opinions a little bit on their ship, like don't get me wrong, I still think that they're trash, but before I feel like I focused so much on the cheating thing, which I do still think is bad, but now I kind of view that situation as being more of just like a one-off plotline sort of thing. Like it seemed more of like a plot device to build Teddy's character at Spencer's expense. Like I don't think that they were planning on having Spencer come back after that and be Teddy's endgame, but then once Bridget and Shane started dating in real life, I think that that really pushed Spencer to be the main love interest on the show. This is obviously just my own perspective and I could be completely off with this, but that's kind of how I viewed things, and that doesn't mean that I ship them or anything, it just gives me a better perspective on their relationship. And there are some things that I still really don't like about it, like the fact that Spencer never put Teddy first. He just seems so self-centered. Like there was one episode where they're both working at this theme park called Super Adventureland, and they're both working outside in the sun, and so there's this new position that comes up inside, and so they both audition for it, and Teddy ends up not getting the role and Spencer does, and instead of being like a good boyfriend and being like, you know what, I don't care that I got this part, I'd rather be outside with you even if it's in the heat, he just takes the role and that's the end of it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's such a terrible character. How is this guy endgame? But that's enough about Teddy and Spencer, and so let's move on to the ship that I'm supposed to be talking about, which is Teddy and Bo. So Teddy and Bo meet after Spencer goes off to university, and Teddy and Spencer both agree to break up because they can't deal with the long distance thing, which is a common theme in Disney Channel shows, which I am now realizing. So she meets Bo, he is a new employee of her dad's, and so they have this really cute little meet cute, and then they have this moment that I included for this video, and I just loved them so much. And like I said, they aren't endgame, but that's not even the main reason why I feel like Disney Channel ruined them. I also just felt like throughout their whole relationship, Teddy didn't care for Bo as much as he cared for her, and that just broke my heart because he was just such a nice guy, and I would give anything to have a guy like him. And then there was also the whole thing where he was like too much like her dad, which she didn't like, and it was just disappointing to see her not love him as much as I did, if that made sense. And so they ended up breaking up once Bo moved back to Tennessee or wherever he was from, and it just made me sad. And then obviously Spencer came, and then they got back together, and it was just like, why? You know? Bo was so perfect. And I'm just so sick of the Disney Channel trope where like, oh, but they have so much history. It's like, I honestly could care less. Bo is super adorable. He can sing. He's also Luke Benward, so there's that as well. And I'm just like, make him endgame. I don't care if he just came in this season. I feel like they still developed their relationship really well, and so they should have been endgame, and yeah, that's how I feel.
Did you come here to kill me because you found out that I was going camping with Greg Wilson? Really, it's a group thing, and I'm surprised that he even asked me because he's kind of like the shy type, which, now that I think about it, isn't gonna work because I'm a shy type. So it's like you can't really have a relationship.
Are you trying to make me squeeze this trigger?
It would speed up the process.
Don't worry. I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I am.
Whatever.
I am. I'm going to shoot you. I always complete my missions.
Would you like me to pull the trigger?
No. I can't do this.
Yeah, I could have told you that like 40 minutes ago.
You don't get it. If I don't eliminate you, the other side is going to eliminate me.
Are they? Or are they just gonna come in my room and talk about doing it?
This isn't a joke, Casey. The other side is going to send someone to take care of both of us. And they won't think twice about finishing the job.
You know, I gotta be honest, Brett. I feel like our relationship is really messed up.
So at number 5, we have Casey and Brett, and Casey Undercover is actually a show that I watched for the first time recently, and I completely fell in love with Casey and Brett. They are so adorable. So their story is basically they're both spies in this one spy organization, but then Brett goes off to this like bad spy organization, and so there's like tension there. And then that's how we get this episode where he's like hiding in Casey's room and hiding in her closet, and it's just golden content. Like, it feels like it's right out of a fan fiction, and I'm just obsessed with it. There's also this one scene where they're undercover at this ballet school that was just super adorable, and I just love them so much. I feel like I should mention that I do like Darian as well, but he's just not an endgame, you know? Like, Brett is an endgame, and Darian is just like, yeah, he's cool. Like, he's not endgame either, so like maybe he's not really that relevant, but I feel like he's like the other main ship on the show, and so I feel like I had to talk about him. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it's just something I've noticed with the roles that Zendaya has played on Disney Channel, and that is that she never kisses any of her co-stars, which kind of makes me sad because I feel like we so deserved a Casey and Brett kiss scene. Like, they were just so in love, and the fact that we never even got like that nice moment where they kiss just breaks my heart. It makes me really sad. I do wish that they could have had Brett come back for like the last episode of the show just to show that they did end up together, because I feel like that's just something that we all deserved, but we didn't get it, which sucks. And I don't want to spoil why Casey and Brett don't end up together, because I do still think they do have a really good story, and so if you haven't seen the show, just go watch the first season, because that's where their story starts and ends, unfortunately. But I still love them, and I feel like in my mind they're another one of those ships that do end up together in the future. Like, this won't make sense to anybody who hasn't seen the show, but I feel like they're just off in Canada being happily in love in like the witness protection program or something. There's no way that they wouldn't find their way back to each other. Like, the love that they had was just so strong, you know?
Espera, espera, espera.
Te aburría.
Ahora sí, puedes abrir los ojos.
¿Cuál es la sorpresa, Federico?
Mira hacia el cielo, hacia la constelación de Acuario. Se puede ver un puntito muy chiquito.
Sí, lo veo.
Es un pulsar que gira a más de 30 revoluciones por segundo y que está gravitacionalmente ligado a una estrella compañera. Los científicos dicen que, por su densidad, está hecha completamente de diamante.
¿Qué? ¿Diamantes?
Sí, exactamente. Se la conoce como PSRJ. Sí, sé que es un nombre muy difícil, pero a partir de hoy va a tener un nombre más fácil.
So if you've never seen Violetta before, you were probably watching that clip and thinking, oh my gosh, this is so lame, he bought her a star, it's so overdone. But here's the thing, astrology and stars and stuff was like Ludmilla and Federico's thing. Like Ludmilla used to go around saying that she was this supernova, and so when Federico met her, he like started talking to her about astrology and stuff. I'm not sure if like he just had all this knowledge about astrology or if he heard her calling herself a supernova and was like, I'm gonna learn all about astrology and win this girl over. But either way, it was super cute. He would call them binary stars. And so when he bought her a star in the show, it was just such a special moment because it was like their thing and it was just the sweetest thing he could have done, and it made me so happy. And I just love them so much. I actually wasn't even sure if I was going to include them on this list because like as far as the show is concerned, Ludmilla and Fede are happy and in love. They were endgame and it was perfect. But what messes things up is the movie. Teeny the movie kind of messed up a lot of stuff, and Fede and Ludmi is one of those things. I feel like it's like a common thing in the Violetta fandom, whereas we all don't really know if the Teeny movie is canon or not, or I think that we all just kind of like act like it isn't because it's not the best movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a fun time. I enjoy watching it. I've seen it a few times now just because I think it's an enjoyable movie, but it's not a very good movie, and it does a very good job of ignoring the show that came before it. So Ludmilla is in the film, but Federico is not. And it was alright that he wasn't in the movie. You know, Ruggiero was off filming Soy Luna. It's all good. The problem is that they gave Ludmilla another love interest for some reason. Like, they completely ignored the relationship that they had built for over 200 episodes just for this one random kiss scene in the movie. It just makes no sense. Why would they think that this is what the fans would want? Like, to have Ludmilla randomly meet this guy and then kiss him, it just seemed so weird. Like, I remember watching the movie and being like, oh, they're cute. I could see them being like a fun non-canon ship. And then when they kissed in the end, I was like, what is happening? It was like the people who made this movie weren't even aware of the storylines that they had set up in the show. It just makes me so upset. And I know that it's probably not Disney Channel to blame for this one, but I just needed a second to rant about this ship because they're one of my favorites, and it was just so sad to see them completely ignored in the movie.
Okay, LeBlanc James. You currently have HORS. So, if you miss this one,
which seems likely,
then I win.
I will pay for that. Guess you're off the hook for that date. I'll see you around.
Wow. Since when did being vulnerable get so cute? Well, hold on.
I literally could not be holding on any tighter.
So if you won, I was supposed to, you know, go out on a date with you. But we actually never really covered what happens if I win.
Okay. Name your prize.
I think I want you to go out with me.
Wait, what? Really?
Dad said that I would know when I was ready. I think I'm ready. Yeah. Josh, will you go out with me?
Yes. Did you see? I was up there so high.
So it's been a hot minute since we've talked about Maddie and Josh on my channel. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that they are one of my favorite ships, just like almost every ship on this list. I've been saying I feel like they're all my favorites, which is like the point of this video, is that I'm angry that they ruined them. Okay, but let's talk about Maddie and Josh, which is actually a very similar ship to Teddy and Bo. So the main ship from Liv and Maddie was Maddie and Diggy. And as you guys know, I don't like Maddie and Diggy. This is mainly because I feel like Diggy was self-centered. He never put Maddie first and was just overall really dumb, and I didn't like him. Anyways, basically Diggy is a jerk. He broke up with Maddie and left her heartbroken, and then he leaves. And while he's gone, Josh comes. So Josh is Liv's new co-star on her show, and so he meets Maddie and he starts to develop a crush on her. And then she's not too sure how she feels about him at first because she doesn't know if she's ready to start dating again until this scene that I chose for this video, which I think is my favorite moment between the two of them because it's when Maddie realizes that she is ready to date again, and then they're just so adorable. Josh is just like such a nice guy. Like the fact that they don't end up together is just a crime. He deserves to be happy with somebody, and I just can't get over the fact that he was introduced into the show basically for nothing. The fact that he didn't end up with anybody, I feel like is just so wrong. That's not cool. And I just feel like those episodes where they were together was just such a special time in the show. It's definitely one of my favorite parts of the series overall. But then obviously things came crashing down or else they wouldn't be on this list. So Diggy comes back because he finds out that Maddie is dating somebody else. Like, he doesn't even come back because he's like, you know what, I've changed my mind. I've decided that I like Maddie. No, it's because he sees her with somebody else that he's like, oh, you know what? No, I'm gonna come back because I don't want you to be with anybody else but me because I'm that big of a jerk. So he comes back, forces Maddie to choose between the two of them. And I think my favorite part about this is in the episode where Maddie has to choose between the two of them. They did this like live poll where fans got to vote for who they wanted Maddie to choose. Josh was winning by like a landslide, and it just makes me so upset, but also happy to know that everybody else also agreed with me in the fact that Josh was superior. And so yeah, Josh and Maddie should have been endgame. Just like with Bridget and Shane, I feel like it was another case of, oh, well, they're dating in real life and so they have to be together in the show, where it's like, it really doesn't need to be like that. Like, we can separate fiction from reality, and in my heart, they will be endgame, even though that did not happen on the show.
Stop. Can we just stop? I just want everything to stop. It's been bad enough I've been keeping this secret from Riley all this time.
What's secret?
You guys are so much alike. I thought you were just like brother and sister, too.
Why?
You're at your best when you're just talking to each other. Looking out for each other. That's what I believed, but I kept it a secret. And now the secret's out, so I don't have to carry it around with me anymore. I just don't want to have any more secrets from her.
So you don't make fun of me because you like me?
I'm just gonna watch this fire.
Maya, why do you make fun of me?
Because you're easy to make fun of.
Okay, then stop.
Because you're a huckleberry. Because you're a ranger.
Would you
Rick.
stop?
Look, if I had feelings for you, don't you think I'd just come right out and say it? Well, I don't. So what I do say is, ha-ha. Why did you do that?
I don't know. I just wanted you to stop. Please don't tell my sister.
You couldn't think of another way to stop me?
Not at the time, no. I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry, Huckleberry. Of course I like you. You're a good guy. If you got hurt, I don't know what I would have done.
Alright, so at number 2, I have Maya and Lucas from Girl Meets World, and I think I can honestly say that without a doubt, this ship is the one that is the most complicated on this list, and I also feel like possibly the most controversial. Like, I feel like people either love them or hate them. I am personally one of the people that loves them. Like, yes, I can admit that Lucas is a pretty boring character and Maya deserves someone so much better, but I just feel like out of all of the love stories we got on the show, this one was the one that was the most interesting. They should have been endgame, and I'll stand by that till the day I die. So, let's talk about them. So if you've never heard about Maya and Lucas before, you are definitely in for a treat with this video, because it gets pretty crazy. So basically you've got the two best friends, Riley and Maya. Riley likes this guy named Lucas, and so they're kind of like a thing, and this whole time that Riley and Lucas are like a thing, Maya's teasing Lucas and like making fun of him. And so this whole time we're all like, Maya doesn't really like Lucas, like they're friends, but like she's teasing him and stuff. And then that brings us to Girl Meets Texas, where we find out that Maya has been teasing Lucas because she likes him, and it's like everything just seems to make perfect sense. And then Maya kind of starts to come to this realization as well that she's kind of always seen Riley and Lucas as more of being like a sibling relationship just because they are so similar, and they've tried dating but it just hasn't really worked out for them. It's always been a little bit awkward, and so her perspective is that they probably wouldn't end up together. They're more like a sibling relationship. And so the storyline up until Girl Meets Texas was just so well done. I loved the chemistry between Maya and Lucas, and I never really shipped Riley and Lucas, and so it just kind of made sense that they weren't going to be together, and I thought that that's where the show was heading. And that is where everything went downhill when it is revealed that Riley still has feelings for Lucas, and then they decide to turn it into this big love triangle situation. And it was just this big mess that no one wanted. It was almost like they regretted their decision to put Maya with Lucas and that they were backtracking in a way, whereas they could have just kept going with the storyline that they had so beautifully set up. Instead, they brought us the triangle, which was terrible. And then the way that the triangle ended just made it even worse. So basically what happens is Riley's uncle Josh, who Maya's kind of always had this infatuation with, comes up to Maya and explains to her that she actually hasn't liked Lucas at all this whole time, but instead she has been subconsciously pretending to be Riley because she admires her so much. And one of the ways in which she's been subconsciously pretending to be her is that she's developed this crush on Lucas that she actually never had. It was just because she was Riley and she just didn't know it. And so that's why she liked him. And it's like, first of all, who are you to come in and say this? Where have you been this whole time? Josh has not really been present in the show, and so it's like, where did you come from? Why do you suddenly have all these thoughts and opinions on the situation that you really have not been a part of whatsoever? And then second of all, what? That makes no sense. You can't just like become someone else and develop these feelings for them. I don't know much about psychology, I will admit that, so maybe you can do this, but it really just does not make sense with the way that Maya had acted during Girl Meets Texas and the episodes leading up to it. Like, it was clear that she did have real feelings for Lucas, and it was really sad to see Maya just kind of accept all these things that Josh was saying to her. And to this day, I'm just so confused as to why that was the plotline they chose to go with. I understand if they wanted Lucas to pick Riley, and so they had to figure out a way to end Maya and Lucas forever, but there are so many other ways where they could have done it so much better. They could have easily just had Maya be like, you know what, I'm tired of waiting, I want someone who will choose me first without having to think about it, and so you know what, I honestly don't like you anymore. Go be with Riley. Like, that would have been so much easier and would have made so much more sense. And honestly, it just makes me sad that this ship that had so much potential was just wasted, especially because if Maya and Lucas had gotten together, then we could have had Riley and Farkle get together, and it would have been like this big plot twist, but like no one would have seen coming. Like, what? Farkle? What? Just like Charlie Gardner said, she ends up with Farkle. Who would have thought? But we didn't get that. We got this mess instead, and so that's why they're on this list.
Felicity, ¿estás acá? No salgas. No quiero que te sientas presionada a hacer algo que no querés hacer. Si sentís que todavía no es el momento, prefiero esperar. Tengo algo para darte. Mejor dicho, para devolverte. ¿Me darías tu mano? ¿Bailás? Quédate tranquila que no necesito verte. Me voy a vendar los ojos. Listo, ya puedes salir.
Vibras en mí, suelto mi voz, música es, solo no estoy, nace y siento, melodías que lo cuentan todo.
So that scene that you just saw is actually one of my favorite scenes from Soy Luna overall. It was actually after watching that scene that it made me want to start watching the show, because I was just so confused yet so intrigued at the same time as to what on earth was happening. And so if you're feeling that way and you want to know what was happening, don't worry. I'm here. I'll explain it for you, and so you will understand what was going on. So basically, Nina, who is the main character in that scene, has this online persona called Felicity for now, where she writes inspirational quotes and does like photography and that sort of stuff. And it started blowing up at their school because the other main like social media people are these group of girls who are kind of mean and kind of negative on social media and all about like fashion and looks and stuff. And so Felicity is kind of the complete opposite of that. And so people really started looking up to her as being like a positive influence to them to like admire and such. And then there's Gaston, who is the most popular guy in school, and Nina's always had a crush on him, but she's too scared to say anything because she's like, oh no, I'm too shy and awkward, and he would never like a girl like me, even though she's like gorgeous beyond belief. But anyways, Gaston is also interested in Felicity's account because he also likes photography and writing and that sort of thing. And so he ends up making this anonymous account so that he can communicate with her, and then they end up hitting it off and are just super cute together, but they both don't know that they are each other, except for then Nina finds out that it's him, but she's too scared to actually come forward because she's like, oh my gosh, it's the guy I've liked all along and there's no way he'd ever like me. And so that leads us to this scene where Gaston finds out that Felicity is in this room, and so he goes there to try to spend some time with her and give this ring back that he had that was hers. That's a whole other story. I just love the fact that Gaston is so respectful of her and doesn't try to pressure her into anything. He respects her privacy and wants to wait until she feels like she's ready to reveal herself, which just makes me so happy because it would have been so easy for him to just open the door and see her and then know, but he's just so respectful and I just love that about him. And then it just makes it even better how in the next episode Nina was ready to reveal herself to him, but then everybody comes running in and she doesn't get her chance to. But I still feel like this scene is just so well done, and I feel like that took me a very long time to explain, but I hope that it was worth it because I just feel like it's such a good moment and I just wanted to talk about it. And so now let's talk about the thing that I don't really want to talk about, which is how they ruined them. So let's do that. Alright, so obviously Gaston and Nina do end up together. They're super adorable. There are so many good moments of them that I just love so much. But unfortunately, when season 3 came around, Gaston went off to Oxford and they tried out the long distance thing for a bit and then it just wasn't working for them, and so then they broke up. And honestly, I would have been okay if that's where their story ends, but it's not. It gets worse from there. And so then there's this other guy. His name's Eric. He's the worst. Well, no, he's not the worst. Like, he's a fine guy. It's just his character is the worst because he has no substance whatsoever. His only purpose is to be Nina's love interest, which just makes me mad because Nina doesn't need a love interest. Like, she shouldn't need a guy for us to care about her. Like, they could have easily given her a much better plotline than the one they gave her with Eric, and I would have been a lot more happy and totally fine with her and Gaston not ending up together. I feel like everybody in the Soy Luna fandom has just come to this agreement that that's not where their story ends. Obviously, Nina's gonna go off to Oxford next year. Her and Gaston are going to meet again, and they'll be together and in love and happy, and that is the true endgame that Nina deserves. And so that's my #1 ship that I feel like Disney Channel ruined. Obviously, there's lots of others. There's a few more on Soy Luna too, like Ramiro and Yam should have been endgame, as well as part of me kind of feels like Nico and Pedro. I meant to say Nico and Jim, but honestly I'm not fixing that. Like, honestly, Nico and Pedro should have also been endgame. I stand by that statement. But yeah, let me know down below what other ships you feel like weren't handled well. I'd be really curious to read your guys' thoughts and opinions. Anyways guys, my name is Caitlin. You can follow me everywhere at KLovesDisney. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell to be notified every time I post a new video. But that's all I have to say for today. I hope you'll have a wonderful day and I'll talk to you very, very soon. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, I'm happy. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's what I wanted. Boys are dumb, honestly. That's it. End of thought.